Hello my dear friends and welcome to my channel. Make yourself a cup of tea, sit back, relax and enjoy. Today we have very interesting stories to share with you, of which one of them is about an entitled father who gets high and left his wife in a ditch in the middle of the road. Please, subscribe if you haven't and I hope you enjoy it. So, I hesitated writing this. It happened a long time ago, but it stayed with me. Back when we lived in New Jersey, my mother had a friend named Darren. Darren had gotten super close to our family and had become like a second son to my grandparents and like an uncle to me. We were all so close that when we moved out of New Jersey, he and his wife came up to our state to get married so we could be there. They loved the area so much that they decided to move there. Sadly, about a year after moving there, he had a heart attack and ended up passing away. His wife, who was hard up for money, had decided she wouldn't do a funeral. When Darren's family found out, they demanded that she have a funeral. Of course, they didn't offer to pay or contribute to it though. His sister, the entitled mother in this story, even needled Darren's wife until she caved and agreed to have a funeral. Darren's biological family drove down for the funeral, and the moment they got here, entitled mother started trying to pressure Darren's wife into signing over Darren's truck to her son because her son was Darren's nephew and Darren would want him to have it and her precious son needs it. Darren's wife was adamant about saying no, but entitled mother consistently found reasons and ways to get her son to borrow the truck to go pick this or that up. Darren's wife was dealing with the loss of her husband and still trying to process that he had died, literally with her driving him to the hospital, and entitled mother was pressuring her over a truck. Finally, my mom stepped in and said no. That the car was the wife's and that was that. They didn't have much time to get into it, because we had the funeral to attend. It was really hard for my grandpa. He sobbed over the casket while holding Darren's hands. I had never seen my grandfather cry like that. He was absolutely devastated. My mom, aunt, and uncle were all emotional, but Darren's family almost acted like they were at a business meeting. I should mention that Darren's funeral outfit was not a suit. It was the outfit he had gotten married in. His biker gear. He wasn't in a gang or anything like that, but he and his wife liked to ride. While I'm standing there, trying to comfort my grandfather, entitled mother reaches into the coffin and takes several items off of Darren's body. A handkerchief and I think a pocket chain. She made some offhand comment to my grandfather about wanting something to remember her brother by. But who does that? She never asked Darren's wife if she could, and Darren's wife was the one who had bought them for their wedding, then carefully chose them for his body since they were special to her. Thankfully my mom had gone to help Darren's wife with something and had missed the entire thing. The family left shortly after the funeral and still never offered to help pay for anything. Entitled mother tried a few more times to get her son the truck, but got shot down. We never got the items she took back though. Story 2. So, this is yet another camp story because that's like 85% of my interactions with EPS-LOL. As I've mentioned previously, I was a camp counselor at a summer camp that took place at a public rec center/complex. Some areas were shared with the public, other areas were reserved for just the camp. We had more areas reserved than we generally needed, so if there were people not associated with the camp playing in an area we had reserved, we typically just didn't use that area for a bit until they cleared out and went on with our day. The one exception to this was the picnic area where the kids kept their stuff all day and ate lunch. People were not allowed to be in. It was arguably the best place to chill in the area, so every now and then someone would come over and try to set up, but we just tell them the area was reserved and they would move along pretty quickly with varying levels of annoyance. One day my director Hector and I were sitting in the picnic area going over plans for the afternoon while the kids were at activities. Enter entitled dad and his daughter, maybe like 4-ish, who come over and start moving the kids' stuff off of the table to make room to set up their food. Director: Hi sir, I'm so sorry, but this area is reserved for camp and we can't have anyone else in this area. Entitled dad: We're just eating lunch. Director: I understand, but unfortunately we can't have anyone in this area and you're not allowed to touch the campers' things. There are tables in other areas that you can use. Entitled dad: All the ones in the shade are taken and she's a little girl. Director: Look, we're going to have to call the kids in 15 minutes. We'll let you use one of the tables that don't have any of the kids' stuff, but we are going to need you to leave when the whistle blows. Entitled dad: Fine. The entitled dad and his kid move over to one of the tables without bags and proceed to eat their lunch. Time is almost up and my director Hector and I start loudly making references to the fact that the kids will be coming back in 5 minutes, and so on. Still no movement. Finally one of the counselors blows the whistle to tell the kids to come back to the picnic area. Director: "Okay sir, we need you to go now, the kids are coming back in." Entitled: "Dad, we're still eating. This is a public space." Director: "Sir, we let you sit here even though you weren't supposed to be. Now you need to leave because again this area is reserved." The kids start running into the picnic area. Entitled: "Dad," screaming, "Do you feel good about yourself? She's just a little girl. And now she has to wonder why she's different from all the other kids. Why isn't she allowed to be where they are? All she wants is to be included. You're excluding a little girl." Director: "Sir, this is a summer camp. We can't have anyone not associated with the camp around the children. You need to leave or we need to contact the authorities." Entitled: "Dad, fine. We're leaving Samantha. This lady says you aren't good enough to play with all the kids." They left, but to this day I fear for how that child developed psychologically. Whenever my mom comes to visit me at my place, she instantly offers her help with cleaning it, instead of, having some bonding time with her daughter. I hate it when she gets like this. It feels very violating, no matter how much my apartment may need a fresh clean. And she did tell me that she does this because when I was going on visits to their place, she expects me to help her with housework back, a thing I never sign up for when visiting my family. I know I'm not wrong for feeling like this. I just feel very frustrated that whenever I try to enforce a boundary, they immediately try to cross it for their own sake and then get mad when I reinforce it. She becomes so passive-aggressive, and the time I was expecting to talk to my own mother over a cup of tea or coffee becomes a literal chore and a headache. It's so draining and frustrating because, in spite of how she is, I would still like to somewhat have a relationship with her, but it feels nigh impossible when she either shoots down my proposals to go for a coffee out in town. To be fair, she lives around 50 kilometers away from me, but Dad usually has no issue bringing her over on weekends, and we just sit and argue, or she pulls this cleaning shit. The fact that she doesn't even do it out of 100% goodwill but with an ulterior motive, to make me feel guilty if I don't help her, makes me so angry. Have you guys had this dynamic before? I don't really know how to really start this off, but my dad is not a great person. He has some good moments, but the awful stuff he does outweighs the good stuff. Anyways, let's start off with some context. My dad is basically on drugs. He tries to hide it but not well. 2. He has some good anger issues and when mad just freaks out. He has destroyed a lot of stuff in the past. 3. He somehow always finds a way to be mad at my mom and it has never ended well. Let's try to explain the story. My mom went to a work party. They do this every year I'm pretty sure, and she decided to bring my father, which from what I've been told went well at first, but after a bit, he left. The reason? Well, it's due to drugs. I don't know why, but he left just to buy drugs. He was totally normal, but after that my mom's friend had to borrow her phone, and when my dad got back basically high as the clouds, he grabbed the phone thinking she was cheating on him. He basically went batshit crazy, and combined with being on drugs it not go well, so he decided to take her and drive back home, but as you can see by the title, that didn't happen. He basically pushed her out in a ditch around 2 hours away from home. He took her phone and purse so she couldn't contact anyone, and well, it probably wouldn't have ended well. She was there for an hour until a person saw her and lent her a phone so she could call the cops, and she finally got home and basically got me out of there, and now we are staying somewhere else until things calm down.